Very recently, I watched the entirety of Kim Possible in 4 days, and all I've wanted to do since is talk about it. And since I don't have many friends, and the ones I do have aren't as interested in the show as I am, I figured I'd take some inspiration from people like Toonrific Tariq and the Alpha J Show and make a retrospective video. Hello everyone, my name is Raichous, and I'm going to tell you all why I love Kim Possible. Throughout the course of this video, I'll talk about the good, the bad, and the soulless. And, as a bonus, if you stick around until the end, you'll get to hear a very mid-tier cover of the show's top-tier theme song. Now that all that's out of the way, let's get into the video.
Sitting in the living room, watching cartoons, flipping through the Disney Channel, Cartoon Network, and Nicktoons, hanging with my friends, animated on the screen, chilling out on the couch in front of my TV. Yeah, anything is possible when you're calling Kim Possible, just like the American dragon, nothing is impossible. Vinny is a verb, taking rocket ships to space, Zack and Cody pulling pranks, making Mosby reds in the face. Like when Eddie scams a cul-de-sac, trying to get some cash, Hector V is gonna stop him and leave him flat on his ass, while the Powerpuff Girls are stopping him in his tracks. I'm headed back to the past like I'm Samurai Jack. Got a blast off to Retroville, chill with the boy Genius, call me the Avatar cause I'm rising up like a phoenix, defeating the gods and ghouls, facing off against any phantom, chilling in Bikini Bottom with Sponge and Pat acting random.
Sometimes life can give us more than we can take. You might just get a dreadful feeling forming. When things are stressful, don't give up, just take a break. Sit down and watch cartoons just like we did back on Saturday mornings.
What is Kim Possible?
I already know the response this category has gotten. What's Kim Possible? We all know what Kim Possible is, it's a Disney cartoon. And you're right, but that's not the purpose of the category, so shut it. Kim Possible is an American animated series created by Bob Schooley and Mark McCorkle about a teenage girl named Kim Possible, voiced by Christy Carlson Romano, and her nerdy sidekick Ron Stoppable, voiced by Will Friedle, with his pet naked mole rat Rufus, who is voiced entertainingly by Nancy Cartwright, who are tasked with fighting crime while also juggling everyday responsibilities such as school and work. The series ran from June 7th, 2002 to September 7th, 2007, with a total of 4 seasons, 87 episodes, and 2 TV movies. Even in the modern day, Kim Possible has a fairly dedicated fan base, one that has enough of a voice for Disney to make a live-action movie based around the series. But we'll get to that later. For now,
The good,
the entire series.
the bad.
Okay, but seriously, Kim Possible is a masterpiece of a cartoon with likable characters, entertaining plots, and a solid cast. Now, anybody who knows me knows how important voice acting is to me. My number one career choice is voice acting, so I really want to talk about the cast for this series. To start off at the top of the list, Christy Carlson Romano and Will Friedle are absolutely perfect as Kim and Rod. Their voices complement the characters' designs and personalities perfectly. Nancy Cartwright as Rufus is always a pleasure to hear, although it can get a bit distracting when you start to recognize the voice as Bart Simpson. My favorite character in the show is Mr. Barkin, who's played wonderfully by Patrick Warburton, who's, of course, doing his naturally iconic voice. Usually when people hear Warburton, they think of Joe Swanson or Kronk or the guy from Yo Mama, even though he's not voiced by Patrick Warburton. But me, I think of Mr. Barkin. Kim Possible also has a plethora of villains, each with an equally amazing voice actor. On the list we have Dr. Draken, voiced by John DiMaggio, in a performance that I could only describe as Joker-esque with the right amount of comedy mixed in. Shigo, voiced by Nicole Sullivan, one of the best characters in the show, with a voice fitting of her snarky, sarcastic attitude. Duff Killigan, voiced by Brian George, a deranged golfer with a Scottish accent so convincing you forget his voice actor is Israeli. Lord Monkey Fist, voiced by Tom Kane, who also provides the voice of him in the Powerpuff Girls. Monkey Fist has a voice that's both contrasting of his gimmick but very fitting of his character. Senior, voiced by Ricardo Montalban, and later Earl Bowen, who both do a perfectly good job of portraying the character as an older man doing his best to be a villain. Senior Jr., voiced by Nestor Carbonell, giving a great performance for a villain who's equal in his incompetence as a villain to his father, but also more shallow. And Professor Dementor, voiced by Patton Oswalt, giving a performance so iconic that he even appears as the character for 5 minutes in live action in... And that's only a handful of the rogues and voices accompanying them. Kim Possible is very similar to Batman the Animated Series in terms of villains and how they're used, with a few recurring ones and several one-offs, some of them including DNA Me, Frugal Lucre, Chameleon, Ron Stoppable, twice, Motor Ed, and many, many more. It's always fun to see their evil plots unfold and ultimately blow up in their face, especially knowing that they were losing to a cheerleader. Speaking of plots, the show has a bunch of them, rarely being a show to focus too heavily on continuity. Some of my favorite episodes include Monkey Fist Strikes, the episode that introduces Lord Monty Fisk, aka Monkey Fist, a simian-based villain and a master of Tai Ching Pei Kwa, or Monkey Kung Fu. In the episode, we learn that Ron has a fear of monkeys and, throughout the episode, has to slowly overcome the fear and eventually become the thing he hates most to defeat Monkey Fist, giving him mastery of Tai Ching Pei Kwa, although he seemingly loses the power or forgets about it until the show's finale. The Fearless Ferret. In this episode, Ron meets a man named Timothy North, aka the Fearless Ferret, a parody of Batman who adopts Ron as his successor. By the end of the episode, we discover that North is a parody of the late Adam West when it's revealed that the Fearless Ferret was a canceled TV show from the 60s. This episode is great because it's a parody that mixes the 60s Batman with Batman Beyond, with Will Friedle essentially being the parody version of Terry McGinnis. Sink or Swim. In this episode, we see the cast going to Camp Wannaweep, much to Ron's dismay, as he has very poor experiences with the place. Throughout the episode, we learn that being sent to camp was a trap for Ron set up by one of the lesser utilized villains, Gil. This is another episode where Ron has to face his fears to overcome the villain and save the people around him and, quite possibly, the world. I'm realizing a lot of my favorite episodes are Ron-centered now that I'm writing this out. It's not intentional, I promise. In an attempt to talk about something good that isn't Ron-centered, how about we go over the TV movies A Stitch in Time and So the Drama. In A Stitch in Time, we get a plot about Kim having to save the world from a time-traveling dictator who's taken over by separating Kim and Ron. Throughout the course of the film, we see Monkey Fist, Draken, and Duff Killigan repeatedly fail to get rid of a younger Kim Possible in order to take over the world while Kim is trying to get back in the groove and stop them with or without Ron. Unfortunately for her, the without Ron part is the problem. About halfway through the film, we learn that the dictator is Shigo, whose plan works for the first 20 or so years, her downfall being that she caused Ron to move somewhere without access to a bueno nacho. In So the Drama, we see Kim find a new love interest in Eric, and throughout the film, we see her and Ron's relationship struggle as a result. While they're distracted, Draken is able to take over the Bueno Nacho Corporation, which he uses to distribute evil toy robots that grow several feet in size to take over the world. Eventually, Kim and Ron reconvene to face Draken and, throughout the process, discover that Eric is a Synthrodrone. As expected, the plot ends with Kim saving the day and making it back to prom in time to have one last dance and share a kiss with Ron to the delight of both the fans and the students of Middleton High School. So the Drama was originally planned to be the series finale, but the show was so popular that it was revived for another season, which made quite a few changes. The twins, Jim and Tim, were older and become part of Team Possible. Wade showed up in person finally. Kim got a new mission suit. Ron becomes the school's star running back, and most importantly, it paved the way for a new, even more kick-ass finale. But, as much as I want to talk about the finale, I should save that until the end. So let's skip it for now and go straight to
The Bad.
The unfortunate thing about a show that lasts as long as Kim Possible did is that for every 5 good episodes, there's a bad one, give or take. A couple of my least favorite episodes include The Cupid Effect. Wade uses a love ray to get Monique to go out with him. The episode itself isn't inherently bad, but everyone in it just seems to make poor decisions. We see at least 3 of the characters use it for selfish reasons, and only one of them is the villain, and honestly, it feels extremely out of character for Wade, at least in my opinion. Return to Camp Wannaweep. Another one that I found decently entertaining, the downside being that it's a rehashed plot from season 1, almost as if they were running out of ideas for the series at this point. We get to see the return of Gil for the final time as he does, well, the exact same thing as before. Honestly, Gil deserves better. Too bad I'll never get it. Ron Millionaire. The episode where Ron receives royalties from Bueno Nacho for the invention of the Naco. The money gives him a new kind of power amongst his peers, and Ron is very capable of getting big-headed very quickly. It's established throughout the show, but it felt the worst seeing it happen in this episode for some reason. I can't really put it into words, so if you have a way to, please let me know in the comments. One of the parts of the show that really bugged me was the slang. I've never heard anybody use the slang used in Kim Possible except for Kim Possible fans. She sounds like a teenage girl written by a bunch of adults who've never interacted with a teenage girl or a teenager at all for that matter. There are some shots in the show where the frame rate drops for some reason, like this scene in Mother's Day where Kim and her mom are on top of a train and everything kinda just slows down. Mind you, as I'm writing this, I've only seen the show on Disney+, so this could just be a problem with the service and not the show itself. The writers relied a little too heavily on Draken and Shigo. They had a great dynamic and amazing voices, but they also had tons of other great villains. At one point during the binge, I woke up and asked myself, who's the first villain today and why is it Draken? When I said Kim Possible had rogues akin to Batman the Animated Series, I didn't necessarily mean it in a good way. I just want to see more Monkey Fist. Hell, give us more of the characters who only show up 2 or 3 times. Gemini and Gil each only show up twice. Why does this blue fuckhead get to have all the fun? Draken, you may think you're all that, but you're not.
The Soulless.
Okay, so this is the part that I've been dreading the most, and yet am the most excited for. After the second day of the Kim Possible binge, I got very, very curious and decided to watch the 2019 live-action movie. And it was at that moment I finally understood Death Note fans and the group of people who hate Disney's live-action remakes regardless of quality. All I'm saying is, Aladdin kicks ass. Alright, plot, here we go. Kim is a freshman in Middleton High School. On her first day, all she does is fuck up. It gives her a mental breakdown, so she helps this girl named Athena, who turns out to be a robot as part of Draken's evil plot. At the end of the day, Kim wins, and they all live happily ever after. Woohoo! The soullessness comes in with the decision-making and the questions it leaves. Why is Kim a freshman? Is this supposed to be some kind of prequel? If that's the case, why is Kim's old mission suit retired already? Where's Athena throughout the cartoon? What's with Draken and Shigo's skin tones? They just look like lazy cosplayers. Why did they remix the Naked Mole rap if they were going to change Rufus's origin story? Why is Professor Dementor just a white dude? Why is Wade skinny? The list goes on. At this point, you, like anyone else, would probably assume they didn't watch the source material, but you're wrong! Not only did they reference several things from the show, like Nana Possible and her martial arts abilities, Athena wears Kim's mission suit from season 4. Hell, the plot itself is a rehash of So the Drama, but without the prom. And instead of Ron being upset about Eric, Kim is upset because Athena is better than her. And unlike in the show, where it's played up comedically, here it's just kind of super annoying. It's like watching Tobey Maguire's fake cry from Spider-Man 5 times in a row. It doesn't work. And the worst part of all is that the movie was written by Bob Schooley and Mark McCorkle. Also, Josh Kagan. I don't want any angry comments talking about me not mentioning Josh Kagan. The movie also bastardized some characters. Ron isn't nearly as funny here, he's a lot more annoying than anything. Kim doesn't feel like someone who'd be an acrobatic crime fighter. I say this because if she can be acrobatic for literally any reason, she is, almost as if it's not believable that Sadie Stanley could be acrobatic. Dr. Draken has this really weird blue veins look as opposed to blue skin, and they didn't even try with Shigo, probably to avoid being called racist. Athena just isn't a good character. She's kind of just used as a plot device and nothing else for the entirety of the movie. The biggest offense in this movie is Mr. Barkin. They completely changed his personality and character type, and I don't know who thought it was a good idea to cast Michael P. Northey instead of just getting Patrick Warburton back, but they were wrong. This movie is literally as shameful and soulless as it gets, at least for me. It's alright if you've just never watched Kim Possible, but aside from that, it's kind of a spit in the face of any Kim Possible fan.
One hell of a finale.
This next part is going to contain spoilers. If you haven't watched Kim Possible, I urge you to skip to this timestamp. In the final episodes of Kim Possible, Graduation Parts 1 and 2, we see Kim and Ron ready to graduate, which is unfortunately cut short by a returning character, Warmonga, from the Season 4 episode Mad Dogs and Aliens, who's come to Earth to take revenge on Draken and Kim, and, in the process, begin a worldwide invasion. Throughout the finale, Ron questions what he's going to do with his life, not knowing where he'll be going after high school, and worrying that his relationship with Kim will end after graduation. While Kim is unsure of what direction she wants to take in life, not knowing what college to attend or career path to follow after graduating. In the end, the world is saved by Ron, who, finally, after 2 seasons devoid of it, uses Taishing Peihua again, and Dr. Dragon, who, in a strange twist of fate, makes a much better hero than he does a villain. And with that, the series ended. Kim Possible had a great run, and it explored as many unique plot points as it could, even if it did feel stale or forced sometimes. There's a lot that I didn't talk about in this video. I never went in depth about Team Go. I breezed over most of the supporting characters. I didn't even talk about a season's worth of episodes, and for a very good reason. As I'm writing this, Kim Possible is on Disney+, and it'll likely be on there for a very, very long time. If you haven't watched Kim Possible, or if it's been a while since the last time you watched it, hell, even if you've already watched the entire series, if you have Disney+, watch Kim Possible, because it's not just a cartoon. It's not just a Disney show. It's a time capsule of the time when cartoons were fun for the whole family. It's an experience that everybody should have. One of the most repeated lines in the show is anything is possible for a possible. And if making a man feel like a kid again and letting him have a fun time just watching cartoons with his family is included in anything, then I'm inclined to agree. Alright, that's all for now. I know this was probably pretty short for a retrospective video. I have to get better at putting my thoughts to paper in a more clear fashion so everything isn't all jumbled. If you have any critiques or advice, or if you just want to talk about why you love Kim Possible, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, everyone, and remember to stay righteous.
I'm a basic average girl, and I'm here to save the world. You can't stop me cause I'm Kim Possible. There is nothing I can't do, and when danger calls, just know that I am on my way. It doesn't matter where or when there's trouble, if you just call my name, Kim Possible. Call me, beat me if you wanna reach me, when you wanna page me, it's okay. Whenever you need me, baby, call me, beat me if you wanna reach me. Call me, beat me if you wanna reach me. Doesn't matter where, doesn't matter when, I will be there for you till the very end. Danger or trouble, I'm there on the double. You know that you always can call Kim Possible. So what's the sitch? Call me, beat me if you wanna reach me.